Like to call the Tuesday, December 3rd Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mike Fraze, lead us.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Public comment.
Nothing online yet, Your Honor.
Clerk Treasurer, claims approval.
Okay, we have civil city payroll from 11/22 in the amount of $552,851.75.
I move we approve the civil city payroll.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Civil city claims in the amount of $1,151,838.37.
I move we approve the civil city claims.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Sewage claims in the amount of $399,298.17.
I move we approve the sewage claims.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And then finally, water claims in the amount of $1,273,110.52, and that included some transfers that we had to get taken care of.
Do I have a
Move we
motion?
approve the water claims.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Treasurer. Department Head Reports. Jess Spoljaric. Andrea Smith, HR.
I'll be up shortly, Your Honor.
Dan Drake, Code Enforcement.
Sit up
Dan
there.
is in place of Mr. Batchelor, who is home ill today, so we wish him the best.
Just continuing with our addressing vacant properties, troubled properties. One of our recent vacant properties has been demoed. The one on Fremont. Fremont has been demoed. That's a field.
That was a
right?
drug house.
Yeah, the drug house. It's a field now. And we just recently condemned one on Lansing for the same issues.
Was that 87 Lansing?
7 Lansing, yeah. Yesterday was their last day. They need to be out yesterday.
Well, I want to thank the police, want to thank Code Enforcement on the Fremont Street, and the neighbor that purchased
Yeah.
that location to make sure the problems that were happening were no longer going to be in that neighborhood, and then demoed that house.
Yeah. Okay.
He really has.
Microphone.
Yeah, good guy.
He's been a great neighbor and lives across the street, and that's been good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Definitely. Okay.
Thank
That's
you.
all I have. Thank you.
Tim Werner, Water.
Thank you and good morning to the board. Just a little bit of a progress report for the Park Street development. We will be finished installing all the main and the interior of the triangle. We're shooting for next Friday. We will start pressure testing and back tees testing this week in segments moving that way. And I think everybody but the mayor remembers from last meeting I talked about not tearing Severs Road up because I was concerned about getting the asphalt down in time. So we will hold off on the portion of the project on Severs Road from Genesis to 100 West. But we still will have a feet of water, an 8-inch main running through the triangle. That way there will be water available until spring when we complete the looping of that portion of water main.
But for traffic with the detour will continue through winter.
So we're hoping to get some pavement down. Well, we will get some pavement down on Park Street. So that area should be opened up before winter. Park Street will be open for both lanes. The only section that I see possibly having still closure would be the section of Park Street from the split to Severs, but at that point, 100 would be open, so it really wouldn't matter.
One of the two routes is always open, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Severs to Genesis has been open all year. We haven't closed Severs. Genesis is open, so you can go down Genesis to Kumler and come back up to Park Street. So it's a large block for a city block, but not as large as a county block. So
And I believe we've had some trouble with neighbors talking about speeders. Please remember, we have a handicapped child that lives on Severs.
yeah, it's about in the middle of that block between Park and 100. I know it takes a little bit of time to get that child off the bus, and I think that's where the frustration's coming in, because now you don't have those two paths with Park and 100, so everybody is on Severs. And I know it does take a little extra time, to get a handicapped child off the bus, but we just need to show some patience. We'll have the road open here soon before winter. I know Reith Riley was planning on having their asphalt plant open a lot later than normal, so that definitely helps the situation.
Slow it down, everybody.
Yeah, and we are having some problems with people, two-way traffic on the one lane of Park Street. There is road closed signs up. The only people that should be driving that section are the 5 houses that live in that section. So I just remind the public that it is an active construction site.
Jerry Jackson, wastewater.
I'll report that FH Passion has started on the storm basin for Indiana Avenue. That's on Boyd Boulevard by the treatment plant. And then they're going to start on the storm sewer shortly. The pipe hasn't been delivered, so that project will go on all winter. They'll be, when weather proceeds, and they'll be cutting cross-country over to the round barn and then down to Kingsbury. Also, part of that project is they're replacing a brick sewer across Indiana Avenue with the alignment of St. Paul's Court and Noble, and we've designed the replacement of the rest of that storm sewer on Noble over to Monroe Street. So my intent is to bid that this winter, and then maybe FH Passion would get that job because they're already on site doing it. Maybe they won't, but if they're a low bid, they'd get it, and that'd make the whole project smooth. So that's the intent. So in January, I intend to bid that.
Did you know we still have brick sewers? It actually is something cool to see. I know maybe my life's boring, but check it out with,
They're kind of amazing to see. There's no mortar holding them together. They're just stacked up.
Wow.
Yeah, they're amazing to see.
which means the age of that sewer is how old roughly?
It's they're tributary. They flow 2 sewers that were built in the 1912, 1907. So I don't have a construction drawing for any of these. I assume they're before the previous century, so 120, 130 years old.
So you know why we're updating our infrastructure system.
It might be time.
How do you repair those?
They're very, when they start to crumble, they just keep crumbling. So it's very difficult. If you have to connect to one, you get a steel band that you put on the inside, slide it up, and then you work up to it. Not good. Not good.
Vic Minnick, Engineering.
Would like to report we did receive 2 grants from NDOT for safety. So these are HSIP, Highway Safety Improvement Program grants. It was a special call for projects. We received just shy of $2 million. Very competitive grants, so really appreciate Jamie Novak and the engineering office kind of spearheaded that effort and did a great job. So the improvements, one project is sign replacements. That'll go through kind of a design phase and everything. It'll take a little time for that to roll out. And the other one includes, we've had an issue for a long time of having safe crossing of Pine Lake Ave. We have neighborhoods on both sides, so the second project looks at providing safer crossings of Pine Lake Ave. One kind of in the area of the park department, and the other one we'll call kind of North Quantis Teledyne Park area, kind of where 39 and 35 split, where we see a lot of pedestrians, and there's really not a safe way to get across Pine Lake Ave there.
Could this be near the drift at all?
Yeah, yep, across from the drift,
Dairy
also
Queen.
Dairy Queen, and then,
To that little landing.
different activities going on with commercially in that area, so.
And the sidewalk that goes with it will be a part of it?
Yeah, we will be doing some extension of sidewalks to accommodate that crossing, yeah.
And there's, the condominiums that are there have not been haven't been pleasant to deal with about traffic walkers, but we have young people, so they're gonna have to come to the table and be a part of the solution.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we have the townhome development condos. They have kind of a unique situation where their drive is very close to Pine Lake Ave, but they don't allow for public access, so then pushes pedestrians up to the highway, and we'd really like to do something to fix that.
And then the signage is also important. In fact, I told Mr. Minnick on Sunday evening, I had the opportunity to come across the Dollar Tree truck driver on Warwick in Michigan Sunday evening, and this individual said, "Oh, my GPS tells me to come this way." And I said, "Well, what can we do to update?" And Nick and I talked about signage, no truck traffic through on Warwick and Michigan. You know, there could be signs coming off Monroe to say, hey, no truck traffic. So we'll make sure it's clear for them not to be driving through residential areas.
So this sign replacement's for regulatory signs, so, you know, we can look at in our inventory where signs are currently and what should be there and figure out how to make it a safer community.
So will these grants then, you think, in terms of the signage, I mean, it sounds like it to me, but the signage, the safe crossings, sidewalks, will they cover, you know, design and construction
Yes.
of
Yeah.
all that?
So,
Okay.
so there are funds for design in fiscal year '25, which is essentially started now. And then there's construction dollars for one project in '26 and one in '27. The one in '26, we may look to partner with NDOT on one of their resurfacing projects. So I'm meeting with them a little bit later today. So, and I think that should help save us money. The nice thing about HSIP grants, they're one of the few federal grants that is a 90-10 typically. So we're looking at less local dollars, utilizing more of the federal dollars. Better on our local taxpayers.
Yeah, awesome.
All tax dollars, but at least the local ones are a little bit less.
Clerk Treasurer Parthun.
Just a reminder that CBIZ is here this week, coming to all the departments for physical inventory. And then just my annual year-end information, encumbrances, transfers, we got to get all that year-end stuff done. So just a reminder for all departments for that information.
Legal, Nick Otis.
Nothing.
Chief Buell.
Last Monday, I attended the county council meeting, and Sean Fagan, our prosecutor, made a presentation there to request funds to purchase 4 digital speed limit signs, and that was approved. So we will be receiving those in a few weeks, and they will be put up on Lincoln Way, 2 of them, and 2 on Pine Lake Ave. So that's a start. And the thing that's good about these signs is it collects data for us as well, where the high amount of traffic is, what time of day, what speed cars are traveling, and other chiefs have said that they really work well and slows people down.
Thank you to you, Chief, and thanks to Mr. Prosecutor, Sean Fagan, for his work, because we appreciate him
we
paying
do.
for those.
Chief, are those the types of signs that are kind of like right now, Soldier Memorial Park along Ski Beach, where it's solar and it flashes the...
They're similar. What will happen is if you're approaching and you're going above the speed limit, it'll tell you what your speed is, okay, and collect the data as well. So it'll bring people, slow them down.
That's what we need to have happen.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Chief Snyder.
Nothing to you, Your Honor.
Roscoe Hoffman, IT.
Still working on the contract with
And we'll be meeting with department heads and working out any concerns, issues to move that forward, but good job. Bert Cook, Economic Development. Craig Phillips, Planning. Mark Schreiber, Park. Or Mark Schreiber, Prancer.
I don't think Roscoe had his microphone on, by the way. just to point that out. Microphone. Almost yelled it. We opened up the downtown skating rink on the weekend. Had about almost 100 skaters on the first day. They braved the cold. It was a little crisp out there, but got off to a great start. We do have another Free Skate Friday coming up this week on this Friday, sponsored by the Health Foundation of LaPorte. And we also have a Buy One, Get One Skate Sunday this Sunday, sponsored by the Centers for Pain Control and Vein Care. So we appreciate those sponsors, and we are still looking for more local businesses to sponsor these type of opportunities to get people out on the rink this winter. Letters to Santa deadline is Friday at the park office, so get your registrations in. And we have 5 great Christmas performances coming up at the Civic Auditorium. The Eclipse Performing Arts will be performing the Sugar Plum Suite on December 7th. We have Christmas at the Civic Pop-Up Market on December 8th. Holiday at the Pops, a great community tradition, December 14th. Of course, Prancer-Palooza, we're very excited about that this year on December 15th. And we've got some really great new things associated with that. We've got Christmas music before, Santa, live reindeer. It's going to be really a fantastic day. And then a performance by the Christmas Wizards on December 20th. And they're a tribute to the Trans-Siberian Orchestra and does just a fantastic, if you love Christmas music as well as classic rock, it's really a really great show. They're back by popular demand after last year's show. So a lot of great Christmas things coming up, and hope to see a lot of people out at the rink and at the Civic.
Thank you. Mike Fraze, Streets and Leaves.
That's all we're on right now is leaf pickup. We made quite a big ways yesterday. We're working 10 hours days this week to get caught up.
Where are we right now?
They're over on, the loader crew is over on K by the street department, and then they'll be going over to the Weller area. And the leaf vacs out in Romanor and South Haven.
I'm sorry, where?
South Haven, Romanor.
Okay.
Is this the second loop? Or is this the first
Second
loop
trip?
around or second?
This is still the first round.
Still the first round, okay.
We've had a lot of, is it more leaves than we've had in the past?
The first round's been quite a bit this year. And probably the next 2 will go quicker because there ain't gonna be as much out there.
And just to remind the public, you work in a clockwise format.
Right.
So,
And we've been getting calls about, we're missing piles, but it's because cars are parked on them. So,
all right. Thank you.
Ready.
Keep it up. Department heads that don't have business before the board, go have a great day. New-
Cars are parked on them, do we go back then after they're called?
Mr. Fraze, if you could come forward again?
Sorry, if the cars are parked on the leaves and we're getting calls, are we going back then to pick
We'll get 'em
those
on the
up
second
after?
round.
On the second round,
Yep.
got it, that makes sense.
alrighty,
And keep
Thanks.
track of that list too, so
Alrighty.
we can tell people.
alrighty.
Proposed 2025 holiday schedule.
Good morning. So, you know, it's always holiday season when we start talking about next year's schedules. I have the holiday schedule proposal. I always take the federal holidays and the state holidays and try to, I used to try to match the county, but it's hard to do that. They do theirs really late sometimes. So what you've got in front of you is our basic holidays. We don't have an election day this year, so those 2 holidays are not on here. We've used a floating holiday for the past several years, and I wasn't sure about whether I should include one or not, but I put it on the Friday after Christmas, which would be next year, Friday, December 26th, for you to consider.
So then is this one day less than this year?
That would be 1 day less than this year, yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
I don't think that lack of the 1 day makes much of an appreciable difference, right?
Are you
Especially
wanting
in
an
the- no,
extra?
especially
So
in
normally there'd
December,
be
right?
16 days
It-
to celebrate?
Some years it's,
Or 16
literally, some
holidays.
years it's 15, some years it's 17. It's always in that
Range.
range. Yeah, it's not a set number. And I don't try to match the year before. I just, like I said, try to look at,
I'd be open to that if
generally do.
this board saw fit, but
To have an extra day, like maybe.
To have it
Christmas
consistent.
Eve. Or not Christmas Eve, but New Year's Eve instead of New Year's Day. Or as well as, you don't have New Year's, is New Year's Eve
Yeah, so New Year's
off?
Eve next year, I didn't bring my phone up. I'm not sure what day that would fall on.
Tuesday?
Would it fall on a Tuesday? Well, oh, New Year's Eve this year, you mean?
I guess I mean for next year, right?
for 2025,
Yeah.
Right?
how does the board feel?
So
Or leave it as is?
this is just the meeting schedule, so it's right, the 2 per month.
No,
No,
this is the holiday schedule first.
Oh,
New Year's Day,
no
so
wonder
it'd be a
I'm confused
Thursday
like that, yeah.
next year.
Sorry, Mark.
I'm looking at, yeah.
What
And you
days
can
are we
always,
miss-
you
what
can always
days are we
address
missing?
an extra
Election
day,
days.
you know,
Just the two
later if you
election
want to.
days. I think, I don't know how you guys usually do it, but I would think that having New Year's Eve off would be appropriate.
I mean, my office has year-end, I mean, this is our busy season, so, I mean, that's the only thing that my concern is, but,
To have off the 31st.
I mean, there's a short week, we have a short week the week of Christmas, we'll have a short week for New Year's, it might be a payroll week, we were discussing that when you
Yeah,
were putting
that's-
together this holiday schedule, it's a
Okay.
tight time frame for.
So let's
Maybe
just
you could
leave it
look
as
at-
this.
Okay.
So I do have a motion and I have a second. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion passes. Proposed Board of Works meeting schedule.
So the meeting schedule, there's really not a lot of discussion on it. Our meetings were set for the Tuesday, or not the Tuesday, but the day after the council meetings. This year, we only have a couple holidays, so there's only three meetings that are affected by Monday holidays. So this represents that rule, the day after the council meeting.
Motion to approve.
so moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion passes. And at this point, I'd like to thank Mr. Kosher and Ms. Romine for their work and effort and appreciate their continued leadership in 2025 as the part of the Board of Works.
Thank you.
is that a
Thank you for your work.
question?
No, that was more of a statement, a pressured statement. Bert Cook.
Morning to the Board of Public Works. Bert Cook, Executive Director of the LaPorte Economic Advancement Partnership. So I unintentionally lied to you at your last meeting and said this was the last item for the Bella Largo project. I did forget we needed to ultimately approve the demolition payment. So there was a home on the property that was partially demoed and then ultimately moved. Holiday Properties completed that work. And I don't have it right in front of me, but the invoice, I think, is $31,000 and some change. Jeff Batchelor and I were able to go out and inspect the work and appreciate Jeff's support early on in the project, that the demolition funds were a component of our incentive offer on that project, and that came out of Jeff's, I believe that's correct, Courtney, right? Jeff's budget. So the work's all done, and we're ready to issue that reimbursement. Happy to answer questions if you have them.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. They're moving dirt, a lot of good happening out there.
Correct.
And senior living we need.
Absolutely.
Our
They've been
community.
busy, that's for sure.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion passes. As well as we talked about last things for the year, you had a approval last evening for another expansion of business, and we talk about quality versus quantity of jobs, if you would just share that information.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So Lindy on 39 North is expanding their trucking area. It's about a $1.3 million capital investment. Larson Danielson Construction Company is going to be building that expansion of their building. And the really exciting part of the project, not that the capital investment isn't exciting, but they're creating about 25 new jobs, making an average wage of about $52 an hour, $110,000 a year. So very high-quality jobs, very much in line with what we're trying to attract. And it's also, I think, fits well that they're expanding on 39 North, where we're making some significant investments, and ultimately, the new property tax revenue will help service that debt when we're at the point of actually making the infrastructure improvements.
Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
news.
Andrea Smith, Orthopedic Service Agreement.
Good morning, board members. Andrea Smith, HR Director. I'd like to talk to you about 2 additional programs that are available or will be available to the City of LaPorte employees. The first one is Ascension Cardiovascular Center. It's a high-quality specialty care program that is offered as part of our employer health benefit. Testing, surgeries, and procedures performed at the Ascension St. Vincent Center or Ascension Medical Group Cardiology are included in no deductibles, co-insurance. Costs are waived for the eligible care through the program, which is amazing. Hendricks Regional Health Orthopedic Center is a center of excellence and is a premier destination in Indiana for comprehensive orthopedic and spine care. They are nationally recognized as a leader in orthopedic surgery. If you have surgery at Hendricks, your employer may issue you a shared savings check ranging from $500 to $1,500, depending on what surgery you had. There is no additional cost to the employee, and the city pays nothing to participate, and we are not locked into this at all. We can stop this program at any time. Currently, there are no centers in Northwest Indiana. They are more centrally located towards Kokomo, Hendricks County, and Lafayette. From what we have been told by the patients who have used the facilities, the care is top-notch and the physicians are better than Chicago. So moving on, I would like to introduce Nick Napier, the face of Brown & Brown for the City of LaPorte.
Nick, welcome, and I'd also like to say each of these options for health, they're rated in the top 5 in the nation, in the state. Where are we at, if you could share that information?
Sure. On the orthopedic program with Hendricks Regional, that is the number 2 program in the state behind OrthoIndy, but OrthoIndy and Hendricks are right there at the top with best patient outcomes, most transparency, and most efficient procedures. And then the cardiovascular heart program was just rated number 2 in the entire country, actually, beating out Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, Johns Hopkins, UCLA, and all the other top heart procedure facilities within the state. So these are very high quality. When our boss Richard went into negotiations with these hospital systems, the number one thing that we looked at first was the quality of the outcomes, and then we took it from there with negotiating pricing at a better level. So as mentioned, these are voluntary procedures that would be done outside of the group health plan. So when you have something done outside of the group health plan, you're not paying towards your deductible and you're not paying towards your out-of-pocket maximum. Recently, I ran a report on our clients that are 2 hours or more away from Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, Crown Point, South Bend, LaPorte, anything towards Louisville. And we've had over 147 orthopedic procedures from our clients that are more than 2 hours away. And on the cardiovascular, we've had over 40 cardiovascular procedures on clients that are over 2 hours away. So this is a statewide solution for us. It's been working really well. Travel is a little bit of a concern for some members if you're driving 2.5, 3 hours. One thing I would ask you to keep in mind, if you're generally having a knee replacement or a hip or shoulder replacement, that's kind of a one and done procedure. So you may be going down there for that one procedure. You may be saving $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 against your out-of-pocket maximum, and then you're back at home and you have the flexibility of doing rehab with your local providers if you'd like to. Same thing with a lot of the heart procedures. A lot of those would be one and done. And so if you're thinking about needing to travel for that particular procedure, getting the absolute best quality of care is much more important than how far you're going for it in that moment, especially when we're talking about maybe 3 hours of travel or less. So.
And Ascension, I mean, they're doing some unique surgery where they're not coming open through the chest if they have to repair, but they're doing through the shoulder?
Yeah, I would share a personal story. My father had a quadruple bypass 2 Christmases ago, and they opened up his entire chest cavity. The surgery itself went great. The hardest part of recovery was the chest cavity getting healthy, the additional infection. The Heart Center in Carmel, one of the reasons they are at the top of the entire country, they no longer open up your chest cavity to perform heart procedures. So you think about going in from the pelvis or the bottom of the rib cage and then through the clavicle. So the recovery time is incredibly quick. The opportunity for infection is much less because you don't have this big wound down the middle of your chest, and people are feeling much better within a week or 2 as opposed to 3 or 4 months down the road. They're still nursing this injury. A lot of people that are having these cardiology procedures are 50 or older, and when you get into that range, it's a little bit tougher to heal from all those things too. So taking that out of the equation is a critical part of their overall efficiency and the delivery of that care. So they have some fantastic surgeons at both of these programs. And these are voluntary programs. Members still will always have the ability to take and have procedures done from their local physicians if they'd like to. This is just us adding a resource. Sorry, sir.
Oh, no, I think it's certainly wonderful to have access to high-quality healthcare, right, in terms of especially the outcomes. So, and I appreciate kind of reviewing the fact that it's voluntary. So an employee could choose whether or not to participate or whether or not to have one of these procedures done 2.5 hours, 3 hours away in the Indianapolis area or Lafayette, or they could choose to continue with a provider that might do the procedure closer to home. Totally up to them, but there would likely be a savings to their out-of-pocket by going to one of these centers versus locally.
There would without a doubt be thousands of dollars of savings to having these
And if you could
procedures done.
give us examples of that?
Sure. On a standard heart procedure, normally we see that coming through a group health plan at $193,000. And you guys are contracted directly for these same types of procedures at about $95,000. So there's about $100,000 of opportunity for savings for the group. The member themselves, that's why we take away the deductible and the out-of-pocket to give them incentive to use these programs. And then we've also built in that shared savings check. So if members decide to take advantage, not only are their deductibles and out-of-pockets waived, but they are provided with that shared savings incentive that comes through as an additional incentive to use the program.
And would they be able to see all these, the financial aspects of it up front? Because I think that's one of the challenges, right, of healthcare is sometimes you don't know what those final bills are going to be. Our employees would be able to see what that impact is going to be and to really be able to make the best choice for themselves, right?
I would say the best part about this program, if a member chooses to use either one of them, they never even get a bill. They don't see a bill. All they do is call the dedicated concierge line. So when members are getting into these programs, they're calling this dedicated concierge line. They're never asked to provide anything, so they don't get a bill if they use these procedures, which is fantastic news. They don't have an EOB coming through. They don't need to figure out if they met their deductible out of pocket for the year. It's all just directly billed to the city. Sorry, Mayor. Go ahead.
We talk about our residents deserve the best, our employees deserve the best, and we're trying to improve the quality of life for our employees as well. And there's even some financial incentive. They could walk away with a check.
Correct.
For coming and having that work done at one of the top locations in the nation.
Is that for cardio also, or primarily
Yes,
for
we
the
can build that into the
ortho?
cardiovascular program as well. So almost all of our clients have it built into both. So there's the $1,500, the $750, and then the $500 depending on the size of the procedure. And that's all indicated when an invoice is generated. So if a member uses this, they never even get a bill from the insurance company because it's totally outside of insurance. The procedure is completed, the billing just goes directly to the city of LaPorte, and then LaPorte makes payment on that. And that's why it's so valuable for these hospital systems as well, because they're not waiting 4, 5, 6 months to get payment. They know exactly what they're getting, and they're getting it right away. One other thing I would add, anything within these programs is a bundled strategy. So although the readmittance rates are very low, if you have members that are having surgeries right now and being readmitted to the hospital, all of that stuff is coming right back through the group health plan, charged to you guys, charged to the member. If there's any need for a readmission during any of these programs, there's not a penny extra that's sent out. The reason we pick these programs is because they're much more efficient and have a higher quality outcome than the others do, and that's why they're willing to write that bundled strategy, which also has value. One other thing I think is important to add for those of you guys that don't work in healthcare all the time, all of these hospitals have what's called a master charge list. We don't know what they charge the employers exactly. We don't know what the insurance company's agreement is with them. Those master charge lists are proprietary and confidential, so we don't know exactly what the pricing is for things through the actual group health plan. When you go outside of that list, generally what we see is that your group health plans are being charged somewhere between 250 to 400% of what Medicare would have reimbursed for that procedure. 250 to about 400% of what Medicare would have reimbursed. These contracts, the value of them is you're directly contracted at 180 and 190% of Medicare reimbursement levels. So we're getting somewhere between 60% reduction or 150, 180 or 90% reduction on the actual pricing that the group health plan would have been charged. So that in itself is very valuable, and that's what the direct contract really is. It's a guarantee that they will only charge the city 180 or 190% of the Medicare reimbursement level. Right now on the Anthem Group Health Plan, if we have a heart procedure, they're charging 375, 400% of Medicare reimbursement levels. So that just tries to add a little clarity for people that don't work in the insurance industry on a day-to-day basis. Hopefully that didn't muddy the water.
Not at all. Further questions? Do we need to approve this?
Yes.
So do I have a motion to approve?
There's two agreements.
We'll take the first one.
It's two
You
separate?
you can do them both together or separate.
They're two separate. One is directly with Hendricks Regional Hospital for the orthopedic. The other one is directly with the Ascension Heart Center in Carmel for the cardiovascular services. And just in this area, we've got Valparaiso Schools that's rolling it out. We also have Porter Trust, which encompasses 18 of the smaller schools within Porter County that have this as well. And we've got Munster schools that have taken advantage of this. And the employees, it's really been a great employee benefit when you're talking about not having to pay thousands of dollars towards the out-of-pocket and also getting to the best physicians in the entire state and in some cases in the entire country for the services.
The termination provisions, as Andrea had mentioned, one of the, I think the orthopedic contract references a 5-year contract, but each of them have the ability to cancel. One is with 60 days notice, the other one is with 90 days notice without cause. I mean, if either party is unhappy with the arrangement. So.
And I would add, the 5-year agreement is what we really did for the benefit of the employer. We guarantee you guys for 5 years, you're gonna get it at 180%.
Yeah.
So that's really a huge benefit to you guys because they can't come back in 2 or 3 years and say, oh, now we need 230% because we realize how valuable this program is and we could still charge more for it and have it be valuable.
Do I have a motion on both agreements?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
I mean, truly, this is a win-win-win, with the exception that, right there, I mean, I think it's great for employees to be able to have these choices, to be able to choose which route they want to take, save money, right, for the city and for the employee. The only downside is kind of local providers. However, you know, I truly would believe these types of programs, and the more they're adopted, will hopefully, ideally, help push local providers to kind of improve the quality, lower the cost. I mean, that's kind of what we hope happens, right?
I'm so
But,
happy
you
to
know,
hear you say that because if we want healthcare costs to go down, we have to have the guts to hold other health systems accountable. When we do these programs where things are done elsewhere for a better price, these hospital systems will sometimes hold more accountability and change their pricing or not increase their pricing as they may have anticipated doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Motion to approve?
We did that. We have both.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one last quick thing to say. One of our employees' spouses had a heart attack and has 5 stents put into them. His cardiologist recommended an angiogram. Anthem, our insurance, denied this procedure because he did not meet some of the protocols that they required. He could use Ascension to get have the angiogram and have additional stents put in immediately. So we're not risking a heart attack for this employee's husband. So this is a great opportunity. We're going to speak with her to let her know that this is available beginning today.
You know, and I guess one other little piece of it, I mean, I've had orthopedic procedures done at facilities outside the area, but then came back and had the physical therapy done here locally it all worked very seamlessly, from that standpoint.
And
for
they
follow-up.
want you to do the physical therapy closer to home. They don't want you taking that trip. And they also work well with the physical therapists for recommendations.
Thank you.
Can I mention one more thing that I think is...
Please come forward, Nick. Yes, absolutely.
We've just found one thing really neat with the orthopedic program. We've had 25 members since the start of 23 that have needed bilateral knee replacements. You don't do 2 knees at one time, obviously, for the safety of the patient. Every single one of the 25 that had 1 knee done with Hendricks Regional, no matter where they lived in the state, all 25 members had the second knee done through the orthopedic program. I think that speaks to the quality of the program and how people enjoy using it. The fact that not one person went back to their normal orthopedic physician and said, you know what, I'm willing to pay the deductible and the out-of-pocket. For all 25 of those bilateral knee replacements to be completed on both in that facility is something that we have just found fascinating, and we continue to get great feedback. The numbers that are on the concierge lines, they are dedicated to you guys as cities, counties, and schools as our clients. So when someone calls in, they'll ask what group they're part of. They'll say City of LaPorte, and then they move right on to how do we get you scheduled. So it's really set up in 2-3 very easy steps for members. And that's all I wanted.
Do you know how long the wait time is, like, if you call in to having a surgery done?
Yep, generally it's 1 to 2 weeks before they get you scheduled to get in, and then the surgery can be 2 to 4 months in most cases. Yep, 2 to 4 months in most
What
cases.
about like follow-up physical therapy? I assume we can do that up here with local providers?
Yeah, total
Okay.
flexibility. If you want to come back and do physical therapy up here, it would go back on your health plan. So you would start to pay towards your deductible and out-of-pocket again because you're outside of the program. If you'd like to do physical therapy with one of their preferred partners, then it would still be included within the program. So we can get you a list of the preferred partners, and I do believe there's a couple in this area that somebody could drive to within 30 or 45 minutes for PT.
I'm a contracted attorney. I'm not part of the city's plan, but I would assume most people would prefer to do their therapy up here and not have to make that commute, so.
When we built the shared savings check in there, the shared savings is really to help drive the member, but also if they really are adamant about doing PT at home, the shared savings can cover all the PT that they're having done.
Yep.
So they don't end up with any additional costs because they can use that shared savings check to pay for the physical therapy. Thank you very much.
Jerry Jackson.
Plus the Board of Works Commission list qualifications for our Edward project. This would be a guaranteed.
Microphone.
A guaranteed savings contract, a little different from the standard bid procedure. The way it works is we request qualifications, go over the qualifications, choose a contractor to do the work. Then the contractor and the city work out a contract, if they can. While working out that contract, the contract would have the regular list of bid items. And of course, we'd have the engineer's estimate to compare to those bid item prices versus the contractor's proposal. If we can work out a contract, then we sign the contract and the project proceeds. Cities had some, I know Nick's have done a fair number of these and had good, I've been on some that have gone not so good, kind of like bidding. So the advantage of this is it's more of a cooperative project than getting the low bid who's trying to nickel and dime you with change orders. And you kind of see their pricing up front, and you can put in, well, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, and then say, well, that's too expensive, or I don't have the money. You can kind of pick and choose line items. So it's a large project, and I would probably go standard bid. I request the board to go standard bid, but it kind of turns out this is what's happening in cities now, especially for treatment plant work. A number of cities I know of have gone through the standard bid project process and got no bids. The contractors seem to be responding to these requests and not bids. It would allow us to pick a contractor who does this work regularly, better than we did with the phosphorus project. To quote one that didn't go so well. So we'd be reviewing proposal or qualifications in early January if the board chooses to go forward.
My only question would be, didn't we have a concern with water department or didn't work out doing this type of contract?
Yeah, so our, it was on the well project and the piping for it. So our engineered estimate came in at like 3.8 million. The guaranteed savings project came in at almost 10 million. Yeah, so we went a different route with that. I know it has worked in certain scenarios in LaPorte. The water department hasn't had good luck with it. I think we went through it with the meter project and the solar stuff around town with Schneider. To this day, we still haven't received any guaranteed savings money for the meters that were put in. There was supposed to be guaranteed extra income off of the water loss. We haven't seen any of that. So me personally, we haven't had good luck with it, but I've seen its success in other departments.
But you stopped it, you didn't move forward with it.
No,
So that's the good news, we know ahead of time.
Then we went to standard bid at that point, so.
And that would be our fallback. If we've got a good set of plans, we've got a good engineer's estimate. If the contractor proposes 3 times what our estimate is, we will say, okay, that's the end of that, we'll start again.
Are you required to solicit from a specific number? Or how does that work now?
Advertise
with-
publicly. So it-
Advertise publicly?
Yeah, so it'll go in the newspaper. There's very specific requirements in Indiana code for doing solicitations like this. So.
And we would send out
Yeah, I think we can also,
notices to the contractors we're interested in.
yeah.
So
We
that
make
they
sure they
would,
get-
gotcha.
This is one of the kind of the newer
Invitations.
ways to do this. Another one, I was texting with Nick Minnick, I was at a legal seminar a couple weeks ago, build, operate, transfer bot, they're called bots. Different ways of trying to cap those change order costs and you kind of put the onus on the contractor to do it right the first time, and then if big changes got to be made, it's on them. So some different ways to do it. It's a little complicated. We tried, like Tim said, we tried with water, it struck out with that, but other communities have had a lot of success with these.
Very similar. We could also explore, if this doesn't work out, just like a design build contractor instead of the traditional design bid build. So there's a ton of different project delivery methods that are allowed by our state law, and this is one of them that that has its reasons to do. And I know that treatment plant work is one of those that usually works out well with a guaranteed energy savings program.
It's complex, detailed work. And so you really got to get a contractor involved. And so that doesn't lend itself to bidding so well, because they need to have to put too much energy into the project to give you a good bid.
So you've seen that for wastewater, that this has been successful using this approach in other municipalities?
Yes.
And Valparaiso's water department uses it all the time with their well drilling. I think that for our project, it was just, we didn't have too many contractors that were involved in it.
We only had one response, too.
Yeah, so, yeah. I think it's a good process, too, of sitting down with the contractors through this. I mean, you definitely get to know them, and you can sit down and hash out a lot of these stuff before it goes into the bid process or the final proposal.
So and that's the case, even if there's 2 or 3 that are interested?
We would look at their qualifications, look at their history, and pick a contractor.
Yep.
And then you go to the contract negotiations.
And then you just inform the board of who you've chosen or who's come forward to be part of that?
We'd come to the board with the recommendation, we recommend that we choose this contractor. Then we'd negotiate the contract, we'd come to the board, and the board would approve the contract.
Gotcha.
So those are your timeline, your stops. Yep.
Thank you.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion?
No, I think the bottom line is, right, if we have good engineering estimates on this, again, kind of the only downside would be, maybe could there be a low bidder come in, but then you've got the issues, right, of change orders and so forth. So, and then being able to, if the pricing doesn't come in where we expect it should be, and we have the out of then going back to standard bid process.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
And it does help with budgeting, too. If that does work out, you know what that final pricing is, so you don't have to worry about the change orders coming in later.
And switching, of course, like if were to decide to then go to standard bid, the timing would not be an issue in this project?
It would cost us a month and a half. We don't have our feet to the fire on this project, other than it really needs to be done. So, and we don't have any regulatory deadlines from IDEM or anything.
The ultimate goal is to get more contractors involved. Is that correct? Because bids don't often happen. Or a lot of
That would be-
contractors don't often bid.
Yeah, that would be a great way to manage the bids. The low bid is kind of a flawed process to start with, because there's games that are played so the contractor can get the bid and then make more money. So,
I see.
yeah, that's a tough one.
We ended up, Tim gave an example of going this route, it struck out, but the last big project we had with Jerry was, we ended up in arbitration with the contractor who, I'll be careful what I say, I don't think they really should have been a general contractor on a project like that.
But they were lowest bid, so.
Correct. Had experience in that world, just not as a general, as a sub typically, and oversight was probably not where they were strongest, yeah.
I do have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Nick
Thank you.
Minnick.
I have change order number 1 for Fire Training Center Foundation. During the bidding process, it really wasn't foreseen the need to have additional time. This contractor rented his forms. It's a small amount, $3,997. I'd recommend approval. M5 Construction did a great job getting everything done the way it needed to be done, and if you remember, it was a significant cost savings to us to use this contractor. Even with this small change order, it really helped keep this project in budget.
But we see this is probably the only one we expect.
This is the final invoice that'll come up next, so that'll be it.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes with the final invoice following.
Yeah, and I will mention, this is the only change order. I believe we did have some additional work done at the site that'll show up on the docket for the next Board of Works, but it's not really associated with this. So just
Outside of the project.
extra project costs that aren't part of the foundation necessarily. So, and then we have the final invoice for M5 Construction for the Fire Training Center Foundation in the amount of $64,297.01, and that is reflective of the change order that was just approved.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, unfinished business. Note the next meeting is December 17th at 9 a.m. It is that time of the year to, put your hand out to help another that might be in need. This is a great community to do that, so keep your eye out. These are sometimes can be struggling. There can be struggling issues for families, for individuals, and we got to be there to help one another. So keep that in mind, and don't forget Prancer Palooza, December 15th. Despite Sam Elliott not being able to attend, we've got a full crowd of individuals to enjoy the 35th anniversary of the film Prancer.
Prancer and Prancer.
And Prancer. And there will be 2 reindeer. There will be Santa Claus. There'll be a concert ahead of time. Can't beat it. Bert Cook has called me every day telling me how excited he is for Prancer.
Will it be Prancer or one of his associates? Or two of his associates?
Maybe one of the reindeer from his line, his lineage.
Yes. Because it has, I don't know how long reindeer can live, but I would assume he's probably moved on to some.
I think we should not review this topic.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?